Hey, I'm Shay and welcome back to my channel, Books with Shay. So today I wanted to go ahead and film a reading vlog for you guys. I haven't filmed one since December and I missed kind of this format of video, and I was thinking about what I felt like doing today, and I actually don't feel like doing much except for reading, and so what better day to film a reading vlog. So I am currently reading or listening to The Ex Talk by Rachel Lynn Solomon. It just came out yesterday. Today's Wednesday when I'm filming this, and it's about 8:50 in the morning. I've done my morning routine and gotten ready and everything, and I really feel like I'm going to spend most of the day today reading and hanging out and playing games and all that fun stuff. So I wanted to share with you guys my thoughts as I read through this. I'm only at the very beginning, a few chapters into this, and so I'm just now getting like the basis for it because I didn't really read the synopsis. You guys know this, didn't read the synopsis before I went into it. Let me tell you some weird things about it. The first one is that the main character's name is Shay, and I have not ever read a book where the main character's name is Shay, and Shay is not a super common name, and so every time it says her name, I feel like someone's calling me, and it like perks me up, like what's going on? And it's been really weird, this weird out-of-body experience for the main character to have the same name as me. So there's that. So far, I really like the premise of the story. It gives me kind of hating games vibes as far as the office romance goes, as far as the hate to love situation goes. I feel like it could have been played really well as like a really slow burn hate to love situation, but they're not really doing that. It looks like the female main character is already kind of starting to have feelings for the male main character, and we are not very far into this book at all. So I don't think it's going to be as much of a slow burn, but that's okay. We'll see how it goes. The only complaint I have so far is that they are really playing up the like big man, little woman trope thing, which is not my favorite. Like he's like 6'3" or something and she's 5'2", and every time she sees him, she's like, oh my gosh, this giant hunk of a big, like huge, taking up the full doorway man. And it's a lot. It's a lot. Like if it happened one time, okay, cool. But every time you see him, you're going to be like, he's so big. Like if you've been working with him for a while now, like haven't you gotten used to his size? Oliver clicking in the background. But anyway, it's like, yeah, so that part is getting on my nerves a little bit, but everything else so far so good. So I'm going to read a little bit more. I will update you guys when I have an update. I thought it was a good time to update because I am just over halfway through the book, and there are some tropes that I'm really enjoying. I am really getting hating game vibes from this, which is good because I love the hating game, but if you are somebody who didn't, I don't think that you would like this. It's definitely not the exact same by any means, but I feel like the office rivalry is very similar, and then we have kind of like a forced work trip situation, which I love. That's one of my favorite things. And that also gives me kind of hating game vibes. And then we have the you annoy me and I am going to kind of work to get under your skin the same way you're getting under mine. But if anybody else says anything bad about you or anything like that, I'm going to turn into this like lion person that like really wants to stick up for you on both sides. I do enjoy the amount that she's talking about, the author is talking about feminist topics and little things, even like who's asked to take notes during a meeting and everything, and how those things are unequal and unfair. And so I like the commentary on that, but I feel like she kind of undoes some of that with the big man, little woman trope that has continued through this entire thing. That is like, it's a little bit better now, but especially at the beginning of the book, I was like, I don't know if I can hang. Like this is serious. So right now we're definitely over 3 stars. I'm not sure if we're gonna bump up to the 4-star mark. Of course we could always bump down, but I highly doubt it because I've so thoroughly enjoyed the beginning of this book. So far, really good experience. I'm really excited about it. So I was like, I'm gonna do a reading vlog and I'll just vlog as long as it takes me to read this book. I'm probably gonna finish it today, so it's gonna be one day. And then I'm not doing anything but reading. And so this vlog is just a bunch of reading updates. But if I do anything, I will let you guys know and update you, of course, as I do in regular reading vlogs. But I would definitely say if you have similar tastes to me in chick lit or in like romance type novels, that this would be a good one to pick up for sure. I'm really glad I picked it up. It's doing exactly what I want it to do with just a few little things that I don't love. So anyway, I will update you guys again in a little bit. I bet if I gave you guys like 53 guesses, you would not guess what I'm about to do right now. Yes, I am making tea as the lighting gets really dark. So let me know if you want, gosh, it's really overcast outside, so it's dark everywhere everywhere. Let me know if you guys want to keep seeing me make tea, because I feel like I put it in every vlog, video, whatever, and it has to be boring. So I am about to make a cup of tea. I haven't decided which one yet. I'm so sorry about this dark lighting. Let me turn on the kettle and then turn on some lights. Okay, and I wanted to talk to you guys about the book. Obviously, that's what this vlog is for. While I was making tea and while I decide what I want to have and everything. Okay, so I kind of love it. Like, I'm kind of, now that she's stopped with the height comparison, like now that she's like, you probably get it, I've said it a lot of times, I actually really like it. It might be up to 4 stars at this point. I am actually super a fan. I've said actually 15 times. Anyway, tea box. I like that she's now starting to explore topics like friend relationships and grief making you feel tied to someone and the ability to grow and to move on and things like that. We're getting a little more substance than just the romance. I do kind of dislike, you know how every romance seems to have that miscommunication aspect? Like, you guys are adults, shouldn't you be able to talk about things that you're feeling or thinking or whatever, but then they can't, you know? This definitely has that misunderstanding. It's not like an event that they aren't talking about, it's them, like their relationship that they're not talking about. But I feel, I don't know how I feel about this, because truly I'm married, and some days I ask LT, are you sure you like me? Like you would say you have like a crush on me, or like in what way would you say, you know? So it's not like it's unrealistic to think that two people that recently met each other would have questions about how the other person felt about them. Me feeling like, LT, do you like me or do you not like me or whatever, even though we're married at this point, other people see LT interact with me, they're always like, oh my goodness, the way that he looks at you or the way that he talks about you, or, you know, etc., etc. Like, it's so obvious how into you he is, but we have blinders when it comes to ourselves or how great someone else thinks that we are, you know? I don't know, is that just me? I feel like I'm kind of rambling and not making any sense, but my point is that although the conflict is, and I don't even know that we've gotten to the real conflict, but although the conflict so far is realistic and makes sense, because I'm definitely somebody who can understand and has been in the place of not knowing whether or not somebody likes me or how they feel or anything like that, I just want them to talk to each other, because in the book, obviously, since we can see both perspectives, and we can't really see both perspectives, we kind of are living in her brain, but still, since we're on the outside looking in, we can definitely see that he's super into her. I understand what it feels like. It's not unrealistic, but I still just want them to talk it out. I don't know. So I feel like that can't be a negative mark towards the book or anything, but it's just something that I wish was a little different. You know what I mean? I'm going to make some tea. Today I am going to have this Twinings Earl Grey, just regular Earl Grey black tea, and I always brew with 2 tea bags because I like my tea, especially my black tea, strong. And I'm gonna do this with cream and, don't judge me, but with Splenda. I am usually sugar-free or close to sugar-free because it is just better for my health and the things that I am going through health-wise. And so I'm trying to be good about that. So although it is not as tasty as sugar, it is still a good enough substitute for me for the time being. This massive bag of Splenda. Okay, let me go get the kettle. I love the conversation that they're having. I love the relationship between the two main characters. I like the friendship that they're developing, not just the romantic relationship. There's so many things that I'm really enjoying about this. The banter is great. It feels realistic to me in a lot of senses. It's not necessarily hate to love, it's annoyance to love, which is probably more accurate to my personal love story as well. And so I do also really like or appreciate annoyance to love stories. And so far, I'm a really big fan. I actually really like this, guys. So I don't know that I could get over how hard it was to get past the descriptive language at the beginning in order to give it 5 stars, but I definitely think 4 stars. We're looking at it being a 4-star read so far. I think I'm 75% of the way through. I like it. The more I talk about it, the more I'm like, I definitely like this. Let me get some cream. I actually think I'm gonna be fancy today and froth it and put it on top of my tea. So fancy. Oh my gosh, that looks so good. Show you guys my masterpiece. Look how delicious the frothy cream looks on top of my cup of tea. Oh my goodness, the perfect color. I am going to enjoy my hot cup of tea in my London mug that I got in London on our honeymoon. Do feel like it is keeping my interest enough to be a read all in one day book, which is a good thing. So yeah, I guess I will check in with you guys in a little bit. Okay, so we're back wrapping up in my kitchen, just like I did my whole last video in the kitchen, but I am working on some chicken behind me for a salad that I'm making for lunch. So I figured I would just talk to you guys while I cook myself some lunch, because I just finished The Ex Talk by Rachel Lynn Solomon, and I have never read anything by her. I haven't read anything YA by her, but it is my understanding that this is her first adult work, and I am really excited to like kind of wrap up our conversation that we've been having about it throughout the day. There were definitely some issues, but overall I gave it 4 stars. I really loved it. So let me tell you about the things that I didn't like first, because they are shorter and we can end on a bright, happy note. But the first thing is that I feel like something that I really don't like in contemporary books in general is when they are trying to speak about an issue or the way an issue is happening, and they don't explore it in depth, but instead they make like an event happen that lines up with that thing they're trying to explore, and then they call out that one event as, guys, that's a misogynistic thing to do or whatever, but they don't explore it on a deeper level. If you're gonna take on the hard job of kind of exploring difficult topics in our society, that they should be really hashed out in a way that isn't just grazing over it in order to kind of check a box somewhat that says, hey, and I talked about feminism in my book. The same way there was also one bisexual or pansexual character, I'm not sure, in the book, and again, she was just kind of glossed over. It was mentioned one time that she was dating a guy, and then mentioned one time that she was dating a girl, and that was it. It wasn't really, it was kind of like a rep check type situation. The main male character was Korean, and I feel like that was kind of glossed over as well. You saw a couple of instances of the way that being Korean impacted his life, but not really. Mostly it was in them going to a local Korean restaurant, which I do all the time, and I'm not Korean. I feel like the diversity in this book could have been done a lot better, that she could have explored deeper without taking away from the story she was telling or taking away from the plot or anything. Definitely think she had space to kind of delve deeper into that. I appreciate any level of diversity in a book. Like, I'm glad that you tried to put some of that in there, but I really want it to be something where an author has researched and spent time with people of these cultures and added things in that feel personal to those people, or that actually is representation, that isn't just like a name tag. It's a whole book where she has all this space to explore these topics, and instead it's like she put a name tag on them that's like, hi, I'm a feminist, hi, I'm Korean, hi, I'm bisexual. And I feel like she didn't really go into any of those things or the struggles that come with those things or anything like that. And speaking of that, the main character at one point talks about, like, they're in a Korean restaurant and it comes up for a minute like that she's white and he's not completely white, because I think even in the book he was half white, half Korean or something like that. And the conversation that they had, I feel like if she would have talked to a Korean person about what that interaction would have been like, maybe she could have done it more justice. There's another instance later in the book where he talks about getting hate mail that says go back to China, and he's not even Chinese and things like that, which I feel like she was like, oh my gosh, people from other races struggle with things? What? Like, she wasn't here for the, like, in this world right now. Like, I feel like people must know, you know, that minorities really struggle. So I don't feel like that was done well or explored well. And then the other thing was the points that she did harp on, where she could have spent more time with feminism. She could have spent more time with issues related to race. She could have spent more time exploring sexuality of the characters and things like that. But instead, she spent that time repeating over and over again that he was a giant and she was a tiny woman, and repeating over and over again that your late 20s, early 30s is like this death trap of life, where unless you have somebody or have settled down or have figured out where you're going, life is hellish, you know? And then when she goes to resolve that, she does not spend, she's like, well, it's not so bad, I found somebody. And I feel like oh, that's a little bit cringe to me, because it's not true. You can be in your 30s and 40s and 50s or whatever and be perfectly happy and be single. You can buy a house and it not just be checking a box to try to fit what society deems that you should be doing at a certain age. You can choose not to have kids and live the rest of your life happy. So I feel like the way she did that kind of sent some mixed messages. So there's that. However, let's talk about the good stuff. I really did like the banter. It was super surface level, nothing groundbreaking or anything like that. Not the best banter that I've ever read in my life, but it was engaging to me. It was fun. It was funny. The main character is in my age group, so a lot of the references that she made sense to me. There is a lot of her saying over and over and over again how she's a millennial, and again, like, could have talked about race there, could have talked about feminism there, could have talked about sexuality there. So there is a lot of that, but I did appreciate a lot of those references because that is my generation. I thought that the main character, like the main male character in this, was like, mwah, chef's kiss. He was described as being very attractive, and I felt like the things that made me attracted to him as a character were not just his physical appearance, although of course he was described as being super sexy. The time that she took into putting in the detail of the way that he leaned in the doorway, or the way that his clothes fit him, or the things like that, that were his mannerisms, that were related to his personality, his smirk and things like that. I feel like it really personified him for me and made him seem more real, more tangible, which made him the perfect new book boyfriend, the perfect new book crush. I really, really liked that. I liked their relationship together. I was definitely rooting for them as a couple and was excited anytime we had any kind of progress in that direction. So that was really, really cool. I liked the kind of NPR setting, the radio setting. I had never really read anything that was in that realm before. It was cool to kind of have that as the setting. I also love the symphony and the music and things like that that were included in this. I liked that it was set in the Pacific Northwest because of course this is where I'm living now. And on top of that, there's a part in the book where they go to Texas, which is where I just came from. So there were a lot of the homey feels for me in between those two things. And so overall, I had a really great feeling throughout this book, which as my other Enneagram 4s out there will know, the number one thing is, how did this book make me feel? So when I'm going into contemporary romance, I'm not looking for something to completely change my life. I'm not looking for these insights into something that is so profound that I leave the book differently from where I came in. Oddly enough, I get that more from fantasy, especially adult fantasy. I seem to find things in there that tie to, like, the metaphors in there, or tie to things in my real life that help me see what I'm doing more clearly than I have ever found that in contemporary. When I'm going into a contemporary, I'm usually looking for something lighter, fluffier, more fun, with enough substance for me to not float away into the atmosphere. Like, I want you to be able to anchor me enough that it feels a little bit realistic, that I can get there with you, but also to give my mind a break. So as far as brain candy goes, the sex scenes in this, if you're somebody who likes Fade to Black, this probably isn't for you. There aren't a ton of them, but they were written really well. They were tasteful, they were steamy. So if that's something that you like, they are definitely in here. That's a lot of thoughts. I've been talking for 9 minutes. So anyway, I really liked it. 4 out of 5 stars. I hope you guys enjoyed hanging out with me today for this little snippet of a reading vlog. If you pick up the X Talk, let me know what you think, and I can't wait to see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.